Josephine was not just wealthy. She was what society called a grande dame, a pillar of high society life and constant entertaining. But in that world, true status was not measured by current money or by the sheer size of your immediate bank account. Status was measured by what money could not instantly buy: history, lineage, and the heirlooms passed down through generations. After every party, the staff were required to wash all the china by hand, carefully scrubbing away the grease and baked-on food. This is where the conflict began, because this was a job that required extreme patience and delicate, precise effort from exhausted workers. Josephine noticed that her historical collection was constantly being chipped, cracked, and sometimes totally destroyed by the cleaning staff. She was losing physical, tangible pieces of her irreplaceable status, one chipped teacup, one cracked saucer at a time. Josephine first tried to solve the problem the way any immensely wealthy person would. She simply spent more money. She offered higher wages and larger bonuses, hoping to financially incentivize the staff to be more careful and precise during the washing. She even hired new, highly trained domestic workers, paying top dollar for the most meticulous and experienced housekeepers available. But the breakage continued, reliably, week after week, regardless of the quality of the staff or the size of the financial bribe. She began to realize the problem was not the individuals. It was the process itself, the sheer difficulty of washing delicate porcelain quickly by hand. Josephine was faced with a massive, recurring labor issue that she could not fix using her considerable wealth, social status, or high wages alone. Why did the staff keep breaking these fragile plates? And how did this wealthy woman respond to a core problem that money could not solve? Josephine's famous parties were not just gatherings. They were showcases of her status, defined by absolutely flawless execution. Everything, down to the smallest finger bowls and the custom, hand-painted serving platters, spoke of her unimpeachable social standing. It was not just noise. It was the sound of priceless, one-of-a-kind china shattering into 1,000 useless pieces. But it was not the money that angered Josephine. It was the sheer incompetence of unreliable human hands. She realized that the people she hired to care for her possessions were too careless, too easily distracted, and far too expensive. She needed a machine that could perform this low-status, bottom-tier labor without the risk of human error. Josephine, a high-society woman who had never lifted a single finger, retreated not to a laboratory, but to the woodshed behind her mansion. She had zero formal engineering training, but she had something far more powerful: true, unadulterated, wealthy spite. The first step required meticulous measurement of every single plate, cup, and platter in her extensive collection. This was the key innovation: holding the china absolutely still while the cleaning happened, eliminating the risk of damaging movement. Next came the forceful water. She understood that scrubbing and rubbing were the enemy. Pressure was the only answer. After weeks of greasy effort and countless hours of trial and error, her magnificent prototype actually worked. The machine was noisy, industrial, and covered in grease and sawdust, but the china came out perfectly pristine every single time. Josephine Cochrane had successfully engineered the world's first truly successful mechanical dishwasher. But now she faced a completely different kind of challenge, one that required more than just pure spite and engineering skill. She was a high society woman, renowned exclusively for her lavish dinner parties and her impeccable taste. How could she, a proper lady in a messy woodshed, possibly bring a greasy, noisy, industrial machine to a high-end market? She needed a stage, a moment for the world to see her engineering genius and silence her critics. This was not just a fair. It was a massive, glittering showcase of modern American technology and progress. Millions of people attended the event over 6 months, all looking for the next great invention. It was Josephine's chance to expose her design to the entire planet and prove the value of her work. Most people had never seen such a sophisticated machine dedicated solely to routine household chores. Josephine stood proudly by her creation, ready to demonstrate its washing and cleaning power. This was her opportunity to finally flex her engineering ability over the rigid social expectations placed upon her gender. The judges were immediately impressed, not just by the ingenious idea, but by the sheer build quality. They recognized the complex mechanical construction was incredibly sound and extremely durable. They also noted its perfect adaptation to its demanding, repetitive line of work. This was the ultimate vindication of her refusal to accept status quo kitchen labor. It was the historical equivalent of revealing a $10 million hidden status item, but earned through intellect. Except Josephine's true status reveal was built from copper, brass, and steam, not diamonds. The public was absolutely fascinated by the promise of complete mechanization. They understood that efficient machines could completely replace low-wage, grueling manual labor. They saw an end to the bottom-tier, low-status insult associated with washing dishes by hand. This radical concept offered freedom from endless hours spent trapped at the kitchen sink. But arguably the most appealing benefit was the promise of superior hygiene and cleanliness. Josephine's machine ensured a higher, more reliable standard of cleanliness than any human could achieve. People realized this was not merely about saving time. It was a serious step forward for public health. The Exposition debut was a massive success, but it highlighted a crucial flaw in her market strategy. The machine was physically massive, built like a fortress, and took up huge amounts of space. The typical American family simply could not afford to purchase or install one of these appliances. If ordinary people couldn't afford this high-end appliance, who were her first customers? Who bought the first practical dishwashers invented by Josephine Cochrane? Josephine quickly understood that the wealthy homeowner market was moving far too slow. Most wealthy families still employed dedicated staff, whose only job was the tedious, constant hand-washing of dishes. The machine was expensive, and they only cared about convenience until the heirloom china finally broke. She realized her revolutionary invention wasn't meant for the private kitchen, but the industrial one. These institutions were constantly struggling with massive demand, constant labor disputes, and expensive breakage. Josephine knew the scale of the problem demanded that the scale of the solution had to be massive. They needed a robust machine that could reliably handle thousands of covers every single day. This was a completely different level of financial transaction than a small home appliance sale. We are talking about high-stakes deals, like the $5,000 payments mentioned in the source material. Josephine was replacing a low-status, backbreaking job, which some people used as a demeaning slur. Her machine offered huge, systemic savings that went far beyond mere kitchen convenience. She sold industrial efficiency, promising to cut the substantial cost of employing large staff teams. The second, and perhaps biggest, selling point was the total elimination of expensive breakage. For fine dining institutions and luxury hotels, breaking just one set of expensive china was a serious loss. The delicate hand-washing required patience and staff who truly cared about the crockery they were handling. Her machine handled the dishes gently, eliminating the costly human errors that cost thousands of dollars. Contrast this massive, industrial saving with the micro-frugality that some people practice today, like stretching meat with extra fat for 75% ingredient savings, or moving a single light bulb from room to save $60 a month on electricity bills. Josephine was not selling cheap hacks. She was selling high-stakes, industrial solutions to massive problems. She was an industrial pioneer, manufacturing large units to fill the high demand from major institutions. They built a reputation for reliable, robust machines that solved complex labor and financial issues. Her company had sold thousands of units to institutions for decades. Why then did the machine she invented not become a standard home appliance for decades? She left behind a successful, specialized manufacturing company. Her invention was established in industrial kitchens across the country, But the success stopped at the front door of the average American home. The technology was far too big, too complex, and too demanding for domestic use. The industrial machine demanded enormous amounts of high-pressure hot water. Most early 20th century homes simply lacked the water heater capacity or the plumbing infrastructure to support it. It was designed to wash plates by the thousand, not by the dozen. The machine also required dedicated drainage, pumping out many gallons of dirty water quickly. Fitting Josephine's design into a typical home kitchen involved a massive and expensive plumbing renovation. For a single-family home, the installation cost far outweighed the benefit of washing dishes automatically. The result was a vast historical gap. For decades, the machine lived in the shadows of the restaurant world. The company Josephine founded was bought and merged into what would become the KitchenAid brand. Even as electricity became common, the mechanical dishwasher remained an industrial novelty. The 1930s, 40s, and early 50s passed without widespread adoption. The industrial dishwasher was technically brilliant, but socially inert. There was a massive gap between the machine's practical existence and its eventual role in your kitchen. The core problem was efficiency. How do you get industrial-level cleaning power from residential utilities? How could Josephine's massive, water-guzzling invention be shrunk down by a factor of 10? What fundamental shift in domestic life finally occurred that closed this decades-long gap? It required more than just clever mechanical design. First, the economics of domestic help had to change. Second, the very architecture of the American home had to evolve to integrate built-in appliances. Third, the government needed to invest heavily in public water systems that could handle the new demand. The dishwasher didn't succeed because of one person's innovation, but because of a massive cultural shift. We had to redefine the very concept of what a modern kitchen should look like. We crossed half a century of silence for Josephine's invention. The key to the modern dishwasher was not the machine itself, but the mass-produced post-war home. Standardized sizing, smaller motors, and efficient plumbing made it possible for the first time. It was only when the 24-inch cabinet became the standard that the dishwasher had a place to live. The era of mass-produced housing and standardized kitchen design finally paved the way. So, how did this industrial behemoth successfully complete its transformation into the sleek appliance you use today? The answer lies in one final, critical factor that Josephine Cochrane could never have predicted. What tiny, yet powerful, invention solved the efficiency puzzle and secured the dishwasher's place in history? Josephine Cochrane died in 1913, decades before the world was ready for her invention in the average home. But the post-World War II housing boom and the subsequent rise of suburbia changed the landscape of domestic life forever. Prefabricated kitchens became standardized, including the reliable provision of pressurized hot water. This finally closed the gap Josephine had been trying to bridge for 60 years, making her machine practical. The dishwasher became the ultimate symbol of convenience and a necessary labor-saving device for the modern home. Crucially, the fundamental design remained almost exactly as Josephine had engineered it back in 1886. The measured racks, designed to hold plates securely and space them so water could hit every surface, were hers. The powerful, pressurized water jets that blasted the debris off the dishes, that principle was also hers. We use her basic principles every single day when we load our dinner plates into the machine. Her company, which had merged into KitchenAid, was eventually sold off to larger appliance manufacturers. The name attached to the machine sitting under your counter is usually a brand name, not a person's name. Josephine Cochrane, the wealthy woman who engineered this kitchen revolution out of spite, is largely forgotten. The true history of the invention and the determination required to make it work is buried deep. When we seek out the story of the dishwasher online, what does the modern algorithm want to show us? It rarely offers the tale of the industrialist woman who used high pressure to protect her porcelain. Instead, the top result is usually a viral video about absurd frugality and shock value. It is the video that claims you can cook a complete lasagna inside the dishwasher at 170 degrees. Or perhaps it is the one about the maid who was secretly the CEO's fiancée with the $10 million necklace. Or maybe the clip where the character is insulted with the low-status slur of being a dishwasher. These videos dominate not because they provide historical insight, but because they successfully hijack a single keyword. They satisfy the algorithm's lust for high drama and emotional tropes, regardless of the truth. We know the full story of Josephine Cochrane, the wealthy society woman who designed and built this necessity. We know the history of the industrial machine that finally became the indispensable heart of the home kitchen. But if we know the true story, why does the algorithm still prefer to show us videos about cooking lasagna in a dishwasher, rather than the woman who actually built the machine?